Alright, hello, it is April 1st, which means it's time for my March movie wrap up. I watched 5 movies in March, which is, a good deal better than February. And I said, oh, we're going to do a bunch of anime, but we kind of fell off that wagon, so there's no anime. First up, I watched Speak, which came out in 2004. This is a movie adaptation of the novel by Laurie Halse Anderson of the same name. I actually watched this with my 8th graders because they read the book. And I will say, I did not know that Speak was a movie or that fucking Kristen Stewart was in it, which was weird for me. Less weird, I realize that's not as weird for the 8th graders because, like, one of them has had a Twilight phase, but they're so young that it's like the Twilight phase didn't really exist for them, which is weird. But it was actually surprisingly good. I really thought that they did a really good job of portraying the book, and there were a lot of really good and interesting moments. And I thought that was pretty well done. After that, I watched Romeo plus Juliet, which came out in 1996. This is the Leonardo DiCaprio version of Romeo and Juliet. I will say, I think that this version of Romeo and Juliet has such a Shakespearean quality about it. Like, that dude who plays Mercutio goes ham, and it is fantastic. I mean, somehow, if you're not aware, so Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare play, 2 lovers take their lives, that whole situation. I actually love Romeo and Juliet. Like, I know that it's like overdone Shakespeare play, but I find it so fun. It's so good, and it's not about the love story. It's about these 2 families that are so bullheaded and childish that 2 kids kill themselves, and also pretty much the entire young generation, except for inexplicably Benvolio, dies. Like, it's such a good story. I love it a lot. And this is a really, really good version of it. I think my only complaint about the 90s Romeo and Juliet is that Benvolio is dumb in it. I hate this version's Benvolio, and I love Benvolio, man. This did make me very excited to read These Violent Delights by Chloe Gunn, which I got in a Book of the Month box a couple months ago, but is sitting, like, poised for me to read it soon on top of one of my book stacks. So I'm very excited about that. But no, I do love the story. I think that this is honestly probably the best adaptation of it. Then I watched a horror movie. I watched The Babadook, which came out in 2014. This is the story of a woman who is, like, depressed because her husband died when they were on the road to the hospital to birth her son. And her son is the most annoying and misbehaving child in the world, and so, like, nobody can get along with this kid. He's an awful child. Like, at, like, the middle of the movie, when things starts getting real and something starts trying to kill this child, you're kind of like, yes, because honestly, like, if you've ever seen that meme where it's like a blonde woman, she goes, why can't you just be normal, and then in the back the little curly haired kid just screams. I'll put it up here. That's from this movie, and that is word for word something that happens in the movie. But then, I mean, honestly, my feelings on the kid did start to change as the movie went on, because it's like he's kind of funny, and honestly, nobody was better prepared for fucking possession of his mother than this little 7-year-old was. Like, holy shit. It was good. It did freak me out a bit. It is a good movie. The one thing that kind of held me back from being completely freaked out about it was the whole Babadook is a gay icon meme. So goddammit meme culture. But it was good. Honestly, I did turn on all the lights after I finished it. I thought it was a good one. Then I watched The Big Hit, which came out in 1998. This is a movie about Mark Wahlberg, who is a very socially awkward and insecure assassin. And it's a funny movie. Honestly, that whole plotline is just as funny as it sounds. It is extremely stereotypical. It's almost a parody. I think it kind of is a parody of spy movies. It's funny. I do like the humor in it, and I do think Mark Wahlberg does do a good job of being, like, he's this tough guy. I mean, he's an assassin, he's killed people, but he's also completely terrified of anybody not liking him. So he's also this incredibly nice person, and it is so funny at times. I think they do a really good job with it. I had a lot of fun. Honestly, it was a great time, and I am very happy that I watched it. It was a fun time. And finally, I rewatch. It is Nightmare on Elm Street 2: Freddy's Revenge, which is the gayest Nightmare on Elm Street movie out there. It is about this boy, Jesse. Is that his name? I think it's Jesse. But it doesn't tell me on the back. But this boy, Jesse, moves into the Nightmare on Elm Street house, and Freddy starts possessing him, and it is. I mean, the actor who played Jesse did eventually come out as gay, and there are a lot of scenes in there. Like at one point, it's just like at one point he's like making out with his girlfriend, and then Freddy starts coming out, so he freaks out, and then he goes into his like best friend's room and just tackles him and lays shirtless on each other for a while. It's a little weird. It's a good movie. I will say I was a bit distracted watching it this time. It's not my first time watching it, so I didn't pay as much attention as I maybe should have. But it is a good one. I do enjoy it. I think I'm excited to keep going on with the franchise. Now I've watched the first two. Those are the only Nightmare on Elm Street movies I've watched. I do enjoy them quite a bit. So that is pretty fun. 1985, if I didn't mention. So these plus Speak are the movies I watched in March. That is all for today. I will talk to you later, and goodbye.